here at Bowtell Alternative. I'm here with Simon Hall. How you doing?
Yeah, good, mate.
We are here at the Metal to the Masses London final, and we're just all the bands have sound checked. The doors are about to open.
The calm before the storm, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
So I suppose if we just start at the beginning, if someone who is out there who hasn't heard of Metal to the Masses, what is it?
Basically, it was a concept put together by Paul Gregory, the big boss man at Bloodstock. And it was put together about 8 years ago now. Probably a year or so before I started working for him. And it was a concept put together whereby we wanted to knit the community, the underground community, together more, find the bands of tomorrow and give them a platform playing at Bloodstock. And it's kind of evolved not only with my input, but also with promoters up and down the country and promoters in Europe, etc. And it's grown into a bit of a beast, and it's great. And what it is doing is, as I say, is we find bands to play it on the New Blood stage, but one of the most important things is it's bringing a community back together a little bit, in the respect that sort of bands are networking with bands are getting to play in front of other fans that they wouldn't necessarily play in front of. They get to take it further and gig together, etc. And that's the most important thing. Back in the day when I first started it, the reception was always a bit off. When I made a decision at the end and said band A, B or C are going to Bloodstock, it was always a kind of like, fuck him. What does he know? But sort of people get to know me now and sort of know that I'm doing it for all the right reasons. It's not pay to play. We've eradicated all those fucking idiots. It's not text voting. It's about the quality of the music, and it's about me coming in and saying, okay, on any given night, any one of these bands can win it. And tonight is no exception. I think we've got 6 competing bands, of different genres. And I'm looking forward to it. It's another night in London.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, you've been the Metal to the Masses has already started.
The
finals already started. How has it been so far?
It's been really good. We started in Kent about 4 weeks ago. That was the first and only UK show up until this point. Then I went over to Ireland. We did the shows in Ireland, in Dublin, and in Belfast. And then after that, I went to Norway. So it's the shows have been. They've been well attended, without a shadow of a doubt. There's been a massive attendance, but I think the big thing that we're finding at the minute is the fact that because this Metal to the Masses is now being seen as something that's bona fide, it's done for all the right reasons. We're finding the calibre of bands that are joining is far increasing what it was back in the day. No disrespect to any of the bands that played back in the day, because there were some belters, but on the average bands that we're getting now are sort of they're at least 3 or 4 years down the line, whereas previously it's been like bands that have been together 6 months or so, but now you're getting more established bands with bigger with a bigger fan base, hence the fact that these venues, it looks like tonight's going to sell out. A sell-out show in London, I'll take that every day of the week, you know what I mean? Sure. So yeah, it's been going great, and the quality is just fucking ridiculous.
Why do you think the reputation and the quality is improving?
I think the fact is, for a couple of 3 years, I did kind of take it on the chin, and I took some flack for the fact that I was trying to shuffle things about. The whole pay to play. There were promoters that were doing it, and I just got rid of them. I just fucking and there was promoters. Back in the day, I'd say in the first couple of years, there was a venue up north where the promoter had run it in the respect of it was all to do with how many fans you could get in the room. When you came to the final, and I make a decision, there were 5 bands, 4 of which were fine, 4 of which were great bands. The 5th band had 200 plus fans in, but were not good enough. And I said, well, the winner is band A as opposed to band D, and fucking hell, the place went mental. And to the point I had to be put in the dressing room until everyone had cleared off. It was that bad, but it's kind of it took a few years to weed all the idiots out, because when people see pound signs, they kind of sort of disregard the concept of music, a musicality, a performance, and that's what we're looking for. I
mean, that kind of reflects in the popularity of the New Blood stage, and how and how that is becoming
a
main feature for some people, and like, I suppose that's a credit to
exactly.
To
I mean, back in the day when I first started, the Nubular stage was tiny. It was in a catering tent. On and basically we couldn't put a lot of money into it, or Bloodstock couldn't put a lot of money into it. But now it's a bona fide stage at Bloodstock, and it's rammed. From morning, noon, and night. It's great. It's and it's long may that continue. I reckon.
Yeah, no, I mean, because I heard you say before that the Champion and new bands. That they are out there and they need to have that platform to.
Well, there's been so much press, of over the past few years of and I've actually been sat in conversations with record labels who are like, we don't know what to do. Well, we're doing it for you. We're going out there and finding them. Yeah. And then when we found them, the fact is we don't just sort of say, well done, you've got a gig. We kind of sort of nurture them and sort of say, well, look, okay, what's going to be the next step? Are you going to go on to play Metal Days in Slovenia? Are you going to go on and win music endorsements and gear endorsements and all this? And we do try and look out for these bands and say, look, to the industry that's out there, these bands in the metal genre in the UK are the fucking cream of the crop. Yeah. So let's grab them, look after them, not fleece them, and then you'll find your next Sabbath. You will find your next Sabbath, and you will find your next Iron Maidens.
It's like with this competition, even the bands that have gone out and stuff, they get so much from the competition in terms of like they'll talk to other bands, and that they know that this competition is serious and to be involved with it, and they'll go off and play with X, Y, and then they'll have that network, and it's even for upstarts, it's really good to get.
Absolutely. Even if they go out in the first and second round. So I tell you the God's honest truth, and this is the truth. Is I'm a musician myself. I'm obviously in a band. The fact of the matter is, when I first got the job, I was competition and being a musician, they don't sit right. They don't, because that's creativity and that's stifling, and they shouldn't work together. However, if you do it with the right mindset and you do it with the right with all the pieces in place, it does fucking work. It does work, and it brings people together. And one of the first things I do, and one of the first things I'll do tonight, whoever doesn't make it into Bloodstock, they're the first people I go and speak to, not the winners, because they're still jumping around, fucking having a great time. But the bands because it's only my opinion. That's the thing. It's only my opinion. And at the end of the day, I don't want anyone to be let down by this. Far from it. The fact is, every band tonight will now be on Bloodstock's radar.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it's. I suppose I've been involved with the competition for about 3 years now.
Cool, yes,
and we've had a chat before and stuff.
Yeah.
How have you seen London evolve?
London's a right bitchy fucking place, or at least it used to be. Yeah. That's the thing. Everyone's up there tonight. All 6 bands, well 8 bands. There's a couple of headliners as well. Are all mucking in together. But sort of 5-6 years ago, that wasn't the case. There was such a segregation, and that actually it's very reminiscent of most of the major cities, I have to say, that was the case, that, we come from this end of town, we come from that end of town, we don't usually mix, okay, we're in the room together, we'll put up with each other, but now, they're like looking forward to it, and checking each other out, and going, oh man, I love your shit,
I mean, example of that is in our semi-finals here, we had equipment failure on stage, and then the band supported straight away on it. Brilliant. So it's not about. It is a competition, but it's not. It's much more than that, and it's hard to put it in words, really.
It is more than a comp, and the fact of the matter is we don't use that tag. We don't use that, and we never will. If anyone says that, I'll launch it. It's not that. It really isn't. It's far from it. It's an amalgamation of the bands, if you like. It's pulling together of the bands. It's not a fucking battle, definitely.
Yeah, no. I mean, I suppose you've got a very difficult decision, as you have every night. Put yourself through like hell, I suppose. But what criteria are you looking for?
I really don't know until I see it. The fact is that there's big things that swing it. Obviously, musicality in respect to the genre. So if you're a doom, a tech band, a progressive metal band, or whatever you are, I'd like to see that there's a composition and a technical ability in respect to that genre. There's also the performance side of it. How do they put it over? How do they sell it to the crowd? It's not necessarily how the crowd react, because they could have brought, you know, X amount of people who are going to say it's a winner, full stop. But it's not about that. It's about how they you know, deliver the product, if you like, and it's how they sort of interact, and how they are before the show, how they are after the show, and you know, they're just generally how the performance goes. It's down to the performance of the night.
Yeah, that's good. I suppose to kind of round it off, like if there was if there's any advice that you could give to bands who are looking to progress, what would that be?
Don't take any notice of me if you didn't get through. Just keep going. It's as simple as that. You know, I am one man with an opinion. Yeah. Unfortunately, my position is that I work for Bloodstock and have to pick a band for Bloodstock. But it's like a couple of years ago we had the Sumer issue where Sumer was so fucking good that I said, look, they can't win it this year because there's just enough slots. But the following year they played. Exactly, and I stood by that, you know, exactly. And that's any advice. Just keep going. Don't listen to critics. Don't listen to reviews. Don't read into stuff too much. Just be yourselves. Yeah. Just keep gigging. Keep finding your band. Because bands do take time to evolve. Yeah. You know, whether it be in regards to personnel, you know, personnel change, and until you get the right band. Yeah. And also, you know, bands evolve gigging wise. You know, that I'm in a band. The fact is, you know, we write an album and then we take it out on the road, and by the time we've toured it, the song's completely different to the one you've recorded because you find nuances and you find sort of creative bits within a song that make it better.
You find out what people that comes
exactly
feedback
what works
as well.
What works exactly. Yeah,
that's good.
So just keep doing it.
The words of advice there. On that note, I know you have difficult decisions tonight. Best of luck with that, and thank you for your time.
Thanks, man.
Cheers. Thank you. We're out. Bye.
Yay! That was easy.
Ricky here at Bowtell Alternative. I'm here with Mick Monsta. How are you doing?
Hello mate, you alright?
We are at the grand final of the Metal to the Masses London
2016.
2016, there we go. For people who haven't heard of Metal to the Masses, what is it?
Metal to the Masses is the incentive brought about by Bloodstock Open Air, the festival, where in all regions across the country, and it's getting bigger and bigger, local promoters put on local bands and offer them a grand prize, which is to play in the New Blood stage at Bloodstock Open Air Festival.
I've been involved in the competition for a few years now, and I've seen it evolve. How has it evolved?
It's really just gone a bit crazy now, word of mouth and stuff like that. It started pretty small, a few regions across the country, including London. The word has now gone round. It's like, I think it's something like 40, 50 places here and abroad. And the word has really got bigger and bigger because the bands really do get to play at Bloodstock and then beyond. They get all the PR, they meet the right people, they play with other bands. Bands like GEVAUDAN have gone on to do great things, as you probably know. And it all starts with Metal to the Masses, which is the Bloodstock initiative for metal bands.
Yeah. I mean, also I've seen, I've interviewed all the bands from the quarterfinals onwards.
You have millions of them.
Exactly, and there seems to be like a camaraderie that revolves around this competition, and I think a credit to yourself, like it kind of it's creating it's building up the scene in London, and how have you been involved with that, and how can it be kept?
Well, the thing is, London, like a lot of major cities, not so much the smaller places, most customers are small for choice, very busy, finances are always an issue. So it's difficult to get people to gigs that are not very genre specific. When you do it across the board metal, it becomes a bit harder. But I think as much as the great standard of bands that play on Metal to the Masses attracts people to come back. It's the spirit of being involved in something and helping these guys to get to the point where they can go and shine at Bloodstock. The community spirit is amazing. People sometimes come, they don't know any other bands on the bill, they just come for the great spirit with the London metalers, and I'm sure that happens around the regions as well.
I was talking to Simon earlier, and he was saying that a lot of the kind of promoters and things have weeded out a lot of the pay-to-play and a lot of the kind of bad things that go along with that sort of thing. And I noticed you've introduced like a unique judging system.
Yeah.
How did that work?
What we did, I first did this about 7 years ago, and although it wasn't the case, there was a lot of criticism for my competition. Everybody else is about you let the band through with the most people, you let the band through with your mates, blah blah blah. So we sat down hard and thought hard about it, and what we decided to do was get a panel of judges from the scene, locals in bands, customers, engineers, people who run venues, and give them a percentage of the vote, and then the other percentage went to the audience, but the audience had to vote for more than one band, and then we added up the results. That turned out to be such a fair system that I believe Bloodstock introduced it countrywide from Metal to the Masses. I'm not taking the credit for it, maybe somebody else thought of it at the same time. So now pretty much it is the best band who gets through, which is not to take anything away from the other bands, but the best band for Bloodstock at that time. The pay-to-play thing, horrible thing, never done it throughout my career as a promoter. There were some people a few years ago who did that. It's not the case anymore, and Bloodstock now put it in the contract that you can't pay to play it. So anybody who thinks they're going to do this and just make a shitload of money and put their mates through, it's not going to happen. It's about the bands, it's about the music, it's about the people, it's not about the money.
And I've noticed, obviously, you allowed me to be involved in the competition, and I noticed you've been involved with other sponsors and stuff. How have you been approaching them, and what's the...
Yeah, the sponsor thing was really something I come up with, because people like to be associated with the name of Metal to the Masses and Bloodstock, and I've been in this game for a few years, so I had a word around, and I found a couple of blinded people who offered us real prizes, stuff like the Empire guitar, which is a $2,000 guitar going out tonight to one of the guitarists. Very Metal Art, Andy Pilkington offered a CD package or a lyric video design. So we got people who came in and are actually going to give something back to the bands and the fans. And then there were people like yourself. The bands now use all your videos and they really appreciate it for forward promotion. It's there for them to use at any point in time. I know you work really hard on it. And the same with Squatter from TBFM, who does all his radio shows, his interviews and shit like that. The whole point is every single band that enters the competition will take away something, and if this will help them in any way, give them a little step up, even if they don't win and go through, they've got something out of it. That's what it's all about. And for that reason, we get the people in the local scene to become sponsors who will give something to everybody, and hopefully everyone's happy.
And that seems like a good incentive for bands. Obviously there's the big carrot of playing Bloodstock, but the bands that I've spoke to who have even gone out have said it's so much of a big deal to them to get these extras, to be involved with something, to put their name to being a part of something, and that's really important.
Well, I think the proof is today at the final, where 2 bands in now, we're rammed inside, and out of 60 odd bands at the end of this year, I've seen at least people from 30 bands who haven't gone through, who are just supporting the competition. Now, if they weren't happy with how they were treated in any way, didn't think it was beneficial, they wouldn't be here now. So it really has worked out really well this year, and long way to continue, to be honest.
The last few years of competition's been at Purple Turtle, unfortunately.
The good old Purple Turtle. Long story short, it was going to close down. We tried to keep it open because everybody loved the Turtle. As Simon said last year in the final, it was a shithole, but it was our shithole. Couldn't keep it going. It's been taken over by some indie kids now. They ain't going to do no metal. So we moved it down to Nambucca Holloway Road. Thanks, dude. Glass collectors, rubbish. We moved it down to Nambucca Holloway Road. I used to work here, so a lot of people knew where it was anyway. It's kind of come out of itself now. People love the venue, people love the staff. We're really very well treated. The sound is brilliant, all the crew are brilliant, and the beer's relatively cheap. So yeah, it's worked out really well, and we're happy to bring it here next year as well.
So if there's bands who are out there who are sitting on the fence thinking about Metal to the Masses, how can they get involved with it?
Metal to the Masses, London, I can only speak for London, I think it's the whole country. The announcements start going out looking for the bands this year, around October, November. The heats progress right through the end of this year and into next year. Can't give you dates yet because we haven't got them. You need to keep an eye on your local promoter who's done it this year, or keep an eye on Facebook and local press, or any of the bands who have done anything with this year. And you'll see the announcement coming up where they ask the bands to get involved. How we do it in London, we get you to submit a track, listen to your track, look at your online presence, and then we get back to you. What we don't do though is judge you by how many likes you got. It's not about your fan base, it's about how well you play and how well you'll do at Bloodstock. So just keep your eye on the press, as they say. And we have a Metal to the Masses page every year as well. So.
And also, like, it doesn't really stop with Metal to the Masses. Like, outside of there, there's bands that get together, and you know, there's gigs that are going around and stuff.
You know what? I was checking the other day, and it's fucking amazing. From last year, I think, with the exception of 2 bands, every single band who entered the competition has played various shows in various cities across the UK with other bands that they met at Metal to the Masses. So it's a long-term thing for the band as well. And obviously that's what we want bands playing, outside their comfort zone, so they can gain more fans and progress up the ladder. So it's all good.
On that note, I'd like to say thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ricky.
And
Ricky Bowtell Alternative works harder than a horse. Thank you very much, Ricky. Thanks for your help. Mick Wood here from Metal to the Masses. Very honoured to be interviewing the interviewee, whatever it is, Mr. Ricky Bowtell from Bowtell Alternative. Ricky, how you doing, mate?
Very well.
Good to see you.
Thank you for taking the time to interview me.
That's all right, because you told me to. What is Bowtell Alternative and how did it start?
Well, Bowtell Alternative started in 2011, and it started off as just doing some promotion and putting on some gigs, and worked with probably over 100 bands across some venues in the UK and in London, and then kind of evolved to doing some interviews. I met yourself, and we started
on a dark night.
Yeah, exactly. And then started doing interviews and recording.
You've got a branded club as well.
Yeah, we got Backlash Alternative Night, which involved it wasn't your average event. It has old school computer games, makeup artists,
it did indeed,
performers, projections and stuff. So I wanted to try and make it more of an event than just a gig, which that was run for quite a while. Hopefully resurrect that soon.
Yeah, bring it back, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, for the benefit of everybody else but me and you who already know, how did you get involved in Metal to the Masses?
Well, I started doing some interviews, and I wanted to be a part of something, and I saw you had the competition running, and I approached you, and we sort of wanted to do some interviews and some filming, and you kindly agreed, and I think I joined in 2014 at the semi-finals.
You did?
And recorded that, and saw that through to the final. And 2015, interviewed every single band, took photos at every single gig.
It went fucking mad.
And took a lot. I spent many an hour editing and filmed every single set and distributed that to the band so they could use it for their own promotions and help.
He did do a great job.
The core of my my brand is just to give to the bands and to help elevate their elevate them wherever I can. Really.
I think that's the thing with London promoters. Anyone who's been in it for a while, it's got to come from the heart about the music, and I think that's what you portray and everything you do. It's all about the music, and it's certainly not about making any money. We do it for love, but we do it with a lot of love. Right, so how have the interviews gone this year?
They've gone quite well. I think that from a production standpoint, I've learned a lot as I've gone along and how to put things together. And I pride myself on editing it the way that I want it to appear, and to give the bands their best, show them their best light. I do a lot of overlays, so I have lots of images, and I spend a lot of time on that. And in terms of the content, the bands have kind of been very appreciative of having the interviews done, and it's been quite well. I mean, we've moved to Nambucca. I managed to have the interview in the basement, so nice.
In the basement of Nambucca.
So they can't escape. So it's gone well in that sense. In terms of the bands, they've been very good, and I've really enjoyed it.
Well, but certainly the feedback we've got from everything that you're putting up and talking to the bands, they really do appreciate it. And I can see the content's got a lot more condensed. There's a lot more information in there, and so hat off to you, Ricky. Thank you very much. Hey, thank you. And what do you think of the quality of the bands on this year's competition?
The quality's been really high. The band, I've noticed bands from previous years re-enter the competition. They've stepped up their game. They really understand. There are bands out there that really understand the ethos of Metal to the Masses.
Well, Ricky, thank you very much for your involvement in this year and last year and the year before. You've certainly done us proud. I know you worked really hard on this, and it's much appreciated by myself and all the bands and all the organisers and all the organisers. Have you got any advice for bands thinking about either doing Metal to the Masses or just in general for getting people to look at them a bit more?
Yeah. I think my biggest piece of advice, I mean, I've got to see bands on a personal level, talking to them, interviewing them, and performance-wise, and I think my piece of advice would be to think about the whole, when you're looking to get a show to be involved in the scene, is to look at the whole picture. You can put on a great show, but if you're not kind of professional off stage, if you're not putting the effort online, if you're not networking, if you're not doing all these things, that really makes a difference. And from a promoter perspective, it's about being responsive, being to able to answer questions, and to the big picture really. And that's really important.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I was having a conversation with somebody a couple of weeks ago about when we get the judges in and what their criteria is for judging. And I actually said we don't give them a criteria. That we don't know what's in their mind. And it came up that some guys might just look at how you behave online and off stage as much as you do when you're playing the show. So certainly with Metal to the Masses, that's a good bit of advice. I think it's great advice, Ricky. Thank you very much. Right, shall we go and get drunk?
Indeed.
Okay then, Ricky, thank you very much. Have a good night tonight. Yes, it's Mickey Bowtell and Ricky Wood, or Bowtell TV Alternative, whatever it's called, live in Nambucca, SIA, Metal to the Masses 2006. I love you, Mum.
Bowtell Alternative. I'm with Empire Guitars, Pete and Noon. How you guys doing?
Doing very good.
Cool. We're here at the final of Metal to the Masses, London 2016.
Yes.
It's a
long road.
Yes, indeed. I suppose we'll start with how did Empire form and where was the birth?
Right. Well, so Empire came out with a few sort of culminating ideas, to be honest with you. We wanted to put together something that was utterly bespoke, where people felt like they were really involved in the creation of the guitars that they wanted, rather than going to a shop and just, sifting through guitars, trying to find something that suited them. Actually having something that they have input and can actually discuss it with the luthier. Now this is often offered by a lot of custom guitar companies, but we've made that the mainstay of what we want to offer. That you get a full-on package of the bespoke experience. So it's often a case that, as a good example is our hand sizes are different. That means that ultimately a generic guitar is not going to suit both of us. There is no everyman guitar. So we like to build them so that it is ergonomically designed for you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's the difference between a tailored suit and an off the peg.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very nice.
And that was the original seed of the birth of it. And also being from the London rock and metal scene myself, I mean, this was just the perfect environment to bring these into being. Ultimately,
it kind of leads me on. How did you get involved with Metal to the Masses London?
Oh, indeed. Well, I was involved with it long before it was Metal to the Masses, when it used to be just Battle of the Bands. I used to be involved with a number of small festivals. Yeah. But it's grown, and it's definitely taken on life and become a beast unto itself. Yeah. And also known Mick from years back, having played his venues, and had him put us on all dayers, that sort of thing.
And you turn up at midday and there's the barmaid. And
play at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that's it.
That sort of thing. So I mean, there was just a natural relationship to come back into this environment.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously being very generous and.
Absolutely. Well, it absolutely is very generous, but there's so much more that comes back from it from our point of view. Yeah. The amount of attention, the amount of love that people show for it, and
yeah, it's been like a London loving. Every week it's like, how's the guitar going? And it's like, get on the forum, have a look.
That's the thing.
We've had input from people who've been competing, like, oh, dude, it'd be really cool if you could do this, and we're like,
people like being part of the process.
Yeah, it really is.
Really do. Rather than it being some anonymous thing that just turns up out of nowhere, actually feeling like they can have some input, which is really quite important. Yeah. And again, the London metal scene, I mean, I wouldn't choose any other scene to really sort of attach myself to be honest with you, because there is so much camaraderie. We've seen that with the bands that are playing tonight. From the last heat, just bowled over by the behaviour of how just absolutely brotherly everyone is. Which is
and obviously you was involved last year. How have you seen the? I know you was in attendance as well. How have you seen the evolution change over a year? Even standard and
no, totally. I mean, it was a bit of a worry at first, to be honest with you, moving out of.
It's a shame it's not the Turtle.
Yeah, because that was just such a prime venue. But I think that this is. I think Nambucca pulled it off. I think that it fits. It feels right. It may not be a direct growth in a linear, but maybe a slight sidestep. But I think you're going to see even more growth with it.
I think bands are taking it more seriously.
No,
there was very much when Metal to the Masses started, and the other ones that led to Simon coming to watch the bands was a little convoluted, and some of the other promoters may or may not have taken advantage of certain situations, which kind of didn't sully the name at all, to be honest, but it does tend to put people who don't know about it sort of like, oh, it's just a competition.
I think the quality has been distilled.
Year on year, I went Zocalo won in Kent in 2010, and there's no way, even a band who've been as established as we are now, after having played Bloodstock a couple of times, I would not want to compete against these bands. The quality of bands is ridiculous. There's not one mug entry anymore. Everything from the day one to the finals is literally biting the back of your hand thinking, God, how good are these people?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean,
and they deserve this.
You have to stand there and question, like, why these are unsigned bands. The calibre and the quality is so beyond people that are signed.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely incredible. It really is. So from that point of view, it may seem like an expensive loss, but it's really not, because we want to continue to support people wanting to attain that kind of quality, to push themselves to be the kind of players.
Just to be in a competition where you can win stuff like playing at Bloodstock or indeed an Empire guitar. It's something that if you don't enter, how the hell are you ever going to get that far?
No, absolutely.
You've got to dream, man.
No, exactly. The obvious thing, the prize.
Yes, the not so elephant in the room.
Just say there's no elephant parts in this guitar.
No, absolutely. No elephants died in the creation of this guitar. Although probably half a decade ago, several trees.
Yes, it's most likely a few trees to be sacrificed.
If you wish to look at it in that way. But no, this is the Empire Guitars Blood Axe that is solely being produced for the Metal to the Masses competition, and hopefully in the future will be also part of the Bloodstock family. These ones that come out in this style do not get sold. So I mean, when someone wins something, they're not winning something that anyone else can buy off the peg. There really is only one of them. So, and this one is built out of American ash, Padauk, English oak, and rosewood, with a great deal of sort of detailing, as you can see, sort of going on, which makes it quite a sexy piece of slab. Which hopefully the winner is going to be bowled over with bounds of joy.
I also want you to, at 11 o'clock tonight, after several imbibes of interesting beverages, say slab of sexiness again. You know? There's a sexy slab. Pete, tell them what it is.
Yes, exactly.
Indeed. Well, I suppose obviously it has to go to someone. What is your kind of criteria for selection process?
It's not easy, is it? I mean,
no,
even we argued about it
down to a couple of points.
We argued a lot because there's things that I think should be considered, and there's lots of things that Noon did. And it's not just, and I've stressed...
It's not just technique.
I've stressed to the guys every week that I've been here, it's not about your shredding, it's not about your riff, it's not about how good you look on stage, not how nice the person you're off stage. It's all of those things. Yeah. And that prickle factor when you watch a guy nailing a riff, or really just in the moment and ignoring the crowd almost completely with just that...
Yeah, lost in that zone.
Yeah, and if you can push that across and have people go, ooh, god damn!
That level of belief in what you're doing, that level of love for what you're doing, those are the things that flag up for me. Someone can be incredibly proficient and virtuosic and just all up and down the neck, but if it's not played with passion, if it's not played with a certain amount of soul that comes out, that they're not actually playing the guitar. What they do is they're expressing to you. That comes across, and those are the people that attract us.
Yeah, this is it. And
our mainstay is play it like you mean it.
Yeah, love it, live it, play it. And I mean, we spent ages, and I like you did last year. I took a video of one song randomly from each band through every single heat to the quarterfinals, and then Noon and I sat around and had a Chinese and a few beers and called into question the lineage of our parents, and then a few more beers, and then we rewatched all the videos again, and then we whittled it down, and then we watched those again, and it wasn't easy, and there was quite literally, but I really want this guy to win, and I really want this guy to win, and we decided on one chap. And,
well, that's the thing. I mean, because the game, the competition itself, it's not like there's someone that is clearly out ahead.
No, God, no.
You've got everyone out ahead.
So even getting the top 10 was hard.
Pick through. You know, every single one of you is great. And we've got to find that nuance, those tiny little details that separate.
Yeah, and it was literally...
It was very difficult.
Yeah, getting to that top 3 was painful, wasn't it? It was quite literally just sitting there, we've got to decide on one of these guys, and we did in the end, and we really, really hope that the guys enjoy it.
Absolutely. I mean, it did almost get to a point of, can we build 2 more guitars? And just go, I mean, I had this problem last year as well, you know, it was like, you know, why don't I just bankrupt myself? I'll just build you all a guitar.
Yeah.
You know, because you're all fantastic. You're honestly...
And it's hard for me, because these guys are my peers as well, you know, I play on the same stages as these guys, you know, so it's kind of like, so you've at least got to be better than me, which isn't that hard. Well, actually, that's not fair. I'm pretty good, but you know, so that's the baseline. Is you've got to be at least the quality I expect of myself.
Yeah, that's good.
No, absolutely.
And they've done it.
They'll be announcing that later tonight. So
just before Simon tells us who's won the whole shebang.
Yeah, we will be informing the crowd as to who will be taking this lovely lady home.
If they can catch me.
Pete runs
off
with the kit.
I suppose kind of rolling on to what you was talking about, like what piece of advice would you give to musicians and bands to try and improve themselves and to...
We'll take a couple points each.
Yeah, I would say play it like it's the first time that you ever fell in love with what you played. You know, that really impresses me. When you get the sense that that person's in a swirl, they're in a moment where they're in their own vortex. You know, that's attractive to me. And don't over push it in the sense of trying to get attention, because that inevitably is a negative.
Yeah, it always puts people off when someone's obviously trying too hard. There's a lot of other things that a lot of bands seem to miss, which I came to later myself. These days, it's not just how you play. It's your online presence. It's your off-stage presence. You know, do you actually support the scene? Am I going to recognise you in a pub even if I don't know what your band is, or if do I see you on stage? And I'm like,
as
oh
much
my God,
as these
that
things
guy's
are
amazing.
all helpful, they're not in the forefront of decision making on our part.
No, not at all.
But they do build a bigger picture and a bigger story with regards to the bands that you're looking at.
And it's what Simon will be looking for tonight. He's not looking for just. I mean, it will be an amazing band, but it will be the package.
Exactly.
Because there's no point wasting an opportunity. Same with this. There's no point in wasting the opportunity on someone who's just going to go, yes, yes, and then that will be it.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have to give it to someone, like you said, who's lost in that spiral of absolutely loving what they do.
Yeah.
And that's where the most
you
people
can see
come back.
they want to push forward and they want to continue doing that. So I suppose that would be the advantage.
It's the same reason you keep going back year after year, Ricky. It's like, I love this stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Can't complain about that. But on that note, I'd like to say thank you very much.
Awesome, man. Thank
I
you.
look forward to the
Nice to have you back again, man.
Yeah, indeed.
Look forward to giving it away.
Can I touch it?
Indeed.
Ta-da! We are out. Thank you. Ricky here, Bowtell Alternative, and I'm here with DJ Squatter. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good.
Pretty good. We're here at the final Metal to the Masses London 2016 in the basement of Nambucca. Nobody knows about this place.
No, this is a little bit spooky. I thought I was going to get jump coming down here.
What is TBFM and how and what do you do?
Well, TBFM was originally a radio station, but we earlier this year we launched the TBFM network because we've linked quite a few little bits and bobs now. So primarily we are a radio station. We're an online radio station. We're the biggest independent rock radio station, online radio station in the UK. We've been going since 2009. So we've got a staff of about 120 now, probably about 30 DJs. Broadcasting mainly between sort of 12 noon and 12 midnight every day, and then we have jukebox either side of that, live DJs and stuff like that. But it's 80-90% of our output is unsigned and independent bands, emerging bands and stuff like that. But we've also got a magazine that goes out quarterly. It goes out free to 5,000 magazines go to venues all around the country, and they've got like bands in. They've got a cover CD on them and stuff like that. We have a little lotto thing that we do. We've got TBFM TV, which is like a cut down YouTube channel, if you like, but it's just for independent and upcoming bands. So just really focuses on them and making sure that you can find them if you need to. And yeah, there's all sorts of bits to it. So the TBFM network is something that we launched earlier this year to sort of encompass all of it. But it's generally the radio station is the main lifeblood of the station, and that's going from strength to strength really.
It's definitely evolved over the years.
Yeah, it has. I mean, I've been
there.
Well, I've been about 3 years. I've been there now, and I'd never heard of it when I joined at all. But obviously we get noticed at festivals. And that's why I just walked in here now 20 minutes ago, and I've just got like 20 metalers saying hello, Squatter, and I don't know who any of them are. I apologise if anyone. I've just said hello to me, and I look blankly at you because one metal bloke looks like another, to be honest. And when I've interviewed, when we said we did it last year and this year, I've interviewed a lot of people. So it's and because the show goes out on a Sunday, and that I've always been able to get down here. So it's nice to actually get down and actually take part in it.
How did you get involved with the Metal to the Masses London competition?
Well, I was going as a punter to quite a lot of them, and not just from the TBFM point of view. Even before I joined TBFM, if I went to download and stuff like that, I'd always go to the smaller stages and check out the up-and-coming bands and things like that. But the last couple of years, I've come down to London. I came down to the first time I came down to see London Metal to the Masses was to see my friends in Donker Carnival. They were performing a couple of years ago. I think Jack Knight Seizure were in the same heat as well, and ended up going on and winning it that year. But I went to a few of them. I went to a few in Nuneaton. Went to a few heats in there. Wolverhampton, I've been to a couple of them. So there's a few of them dotted around the place where it's just bands that I played on the show and we're competing. Because I'm not so much this year, but the last 2 or 3 years I've been a proper gig whore. I've been to lots of gigs. So all these have been coming by. So when you go into something, see Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath, and it's 30, 40, 50 quid a ticket, then but when it's 3, 4, 5 quid, then you can go to gigs pretty much every week if you want. So I've been lucky in that I've been able to do that. So I've been going to, it was just mainly just sort of going to gigs and that. And then when I came down to a few of the heats, met Mick for the first time, and then he asked us to cover it before beginning of last year. Didn't tell me how long it was going to take, of course, and how many actual bands were involved. So cheers for that, Mick. And it was kind of I'll do that. So me being over eager, I said I'll interview them all, and then I had to interview them all. So we did it last year, and it went really well. Bands were all very surprised and happy to be going on the radio and getting interviewed, and like the attention that they were getting and stuff like that. And then we broadcast the final live last year. We had a 6-hour live broadcast. So this year we've cut it down a little bit because it's even bigger this year. So it started like mid-November for us because we preview each week the week before. My show goes out on a Sunday night, 10 o'clock. Make a note of that. Sunday night, 10 o'clock.
The calendars.
Yeah. Now that Metals and the Masses London's finished, Sunday night, 10 o'clock. Podcasts as well. Mixcloud.com/Squat Madras. Easy. So basically it was difficult to get down to actually come down to them because my show was going out and I was previewing the week afterwards and that. So what I've done this year is we just got the bands to just record a little message to play before each of their tracks in the earlier heats, and then when they got through to the quarterfinals and the semis, then we've spoken to them and we've talked to them, and we've also started talking to a few more people dotted around the Metals of the Masses, like Pete Riffmonkey, who's been judging, Sam Kelly Wallace has been judging. We've also brought them in and we've had them, what advice would you give and things like that. So the show that we did last week, previous to the final, we had advice from Sam, from Simon Yarwood up in Leicester. We had people that had won up in Glasgow. We had people that had won in Dublin last week. They actually won this year. Wow. So the band that won there and just said, and it was just, so it's just really, it really fits in with our ethos of the unsigned scene.
I've got to say that from first hearing about TBFM that you guys are truly like about the scene and bringing unsigned bands and unheard bands to people's ears and putting
that's exactly what it is, and it's not just me. There's a lot of the DJs as well. A lot of them don't necessarily go to the gigs all the time, but we got Stevie and Katie Rocks who are based up in Blackburn, and they're in sort of the glam rock sort of scene and that. They go to all their gigs up there. Our head honcho Mucker and his Mrs. Scarlett, they go to mainly rock sort of things like that. I'm more of a thrasher and that sort of thing, so I was at Thrashosaurus a few weeks ago and just go all over the place. But I've been to Scotland to gigs for unsigned bands and things like that, because it's just where are all the headliners coming from? The next headliners, they've got to come from somewhere, and it's competitions like this, the Metals of the Masses and the unsigned scene. Someone's gonna make it. Someone's gonna get through. They've got to, because otherwise it's just not going to be around anymore.
Exactly. Obviously, as you say, you've been involved with this competition for like a few years now. How have you seen the competition evolve in terms of the standard and the overall?
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, the standard. I mean, the 2 years that we've been involved, the standard's been great both years. I mean, there's a few of the bands that have obviously taken part in both years that were there last year and didn't, and you've seen how much they've improved as well. Just purely from one year to the next, and through interviewing them and talking to them, you can hear them feeling a bit more confident about themselves as a band, about how the competition's helping them and stuff like that. But in terms of, I'd say definitely in terms of sponsorship and things like that, Mick's got a lot more sponsors involved. Andy Pilkington from Very Metal Art's been involved this year. I have to give Sarge a shout out as well, because he's getting very involved with the Metals of the Masses stuff as well, and Bloodstock and things like that as well, with his company only been going for a year now, and that's coming along really well. So the likes of yourselves and the other guys that have been doing the filming and stuff like that, and the obviously the Empire Guitars with their things. So I think last year, there didn't seem to be too much of that dotted around. But if you look up at Leicester this year and Wolverhampton that happened last night, they've got prizes, they've got endorsements, they've got things like that, and there's a lot more that are going down that route now. Whereas the prize before was literally just you get to play at Bloodstock, whereas now here we get the guitar, you get the very metal art stuff, you get bits and bobs like that. So there are other benefits to the bands as well. And let's say with the guitar, you don't even have to be in the final. It's any guitarist that's taking part in the competition. Exactly the same with Andy's very metal art prize and that sort of thing. So bands get the benefit of all of that, and I think the more exposure that gets, and the bigger it gets, and the more
I think next year, from what I'm hearing is that they're going to try and link up the regions a little bit more, so that they're not all just individual franchises, just get on with their own thing. They're all going to start communicating, because I know Simon Yarwood that runs the Leicester one, he used to come down here to mix a few times, then he judged in Wolverhampton last year, and now he's running his own in Leicester. And the final for that, I have to say, June the 4th is just mental. De Montfort Hall, it's like 1,700 people I think it holds. So the finalists have got to play on the main stage there. They've got Acid Rain, they've got Hell, they've got Beholder, they've got Phil Campbell All-Star Band. They've got a massive bill for it. So that not only are they getting to try and play to get onto Bloodstock, and that's just that's the way these things are going. The stakes are getting raised, and everyone's trying to outdo each other and try to make it bigger and bigger. So
as you say, like with some of the bands that we talked to just upstairs now, like to reach the final and to the masses in any region is an achievement in itself, and that. The bands that are here do deserve to be here, and
they absolutely do. I mean, they absolutely do. I mean, it's obviously, as I say, I can't attend them all out. We're talking to Pete and a couple of the other judges, and that, like, every week you just think, Jesus, this is going to be so hard to judge. I mean, I got asked to be a judge last year for Mick for the semi-finals. I was like, no, thank you very much, because although the reason I'm a DJ is I have no musical ability whatsoever. So I like my music, I like my thrash, and I can basically look at a band and say, I really like them. So I can basically say, I would like to see them on the New Blood stage. Now, I've been told to people that that's enough. That's enough. That's enough for you to be a judge, because you go to the New Blood stage and you know what you would like to see. But for me, there's got to be a little bit more to it. And I've got, if someone says, "Oh, the guitarist's really good," or "the drummer's really good," I can't hear that. I just hear all of it, and I either like it or I don't. That's why I don't write reviews either, because I'm just kind of like, yeah, they were really good, or yeah, they were all right, or yeah, they weren't bad. I can't distinguish between the special bits of it. So,
I mean, you touched on the New Blood stage, and year after year, I see that becoming more popular, and people are more aware about it. And I know yourself, you're always there. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's partly the Melt and the Masters competition as well, obviously, and a lot of the bands are shouting about it a lot more and things like that. You got the likes of us that are there. I mean, we did press at Bloodstock last year for the first time. We got in literally at the last minute. Mr. Adam Gregory, thank you very much. Adam stepped in and managed to get us in, because they put the criteria up for what gets you in, and we could tick it all like 3 times, because we've done that much Melt and the Masters. So we're like, Adam sorted it out, and we got there on the Tuesday and we went on the Thursday, and then there was sort of a squatter-shaped trench between backstage and New Blood, because that's all I did all weekend. I didn't see any bands on the main stage. I saw Rain and Fury open on the Thursday, because the site was down with Sophie Tent. There was no New Blood stage that day, so I saw the Thursday band. But then the rest of it all weekend, there was 22 winners in the Melt and the Masters last year. I saw every single one of them play. I think I interviewed about 19 of them backstage. And it's going to be exactly the same this year. I'm going to make sure I do it. I'm going to try and do a couple of preview shows as well, of playing all of the winners. We've got a Support the Scene slot that we've got on the radio station now, where all the DJs are invited to any festivals that they're going to, just to record a little 1 hour special on that festival and stuff like that. So mine won't fit into 1 hour, so I'm going to do 2 hour specials. That's the plan at the moment. So just coming up to Bloodstock, I'm just going to do the same as what I did last year. So I played the week before Bloodstock last year. I played all 22 winners and found some amazing bands, really good bands. The likes of Deified up in Liverpool, Animator over in Ireland were amazing. They were like one of my favourite bands now. Black and Ritual up in Glasgow, who came down for Flashosaurus a few weeks ago. Just really top bands, So going to the New Blood stage and watching them all weekend was it wasn't a chore at all. It was just watching really good bands at the top of their game. And as I say, the bands themselves, when I hung out with Wretched Toad. Wretched Toad won the London ones last year. I ended up hanging around with Wretched Toad and Scarthia for most of the weekend. Wretched Toad all weekend, giving out CDs, giving out lanyards. We're on 6:30 Sunday, make sure you're there, things like that. And they literally just plugged it all in that. More and more people are just getting aware of it every year. It's getting a bigger thing, because Bloodstock are behind it. It's not just where other festivals somehow have a little sort of start-up stage. Maybe stick them in a campsite on a Thursday, maybe. Let's not make any names. Let's not, although that is an outstanding lineup this year, but let's not detract. But sometimes it'll just be a little, there you go, there's your thing, but then they don't follow them up, they never progress up. Whereas Bloodstock, we've seen the likes of Cambion. Cambion won Melt and the Masters a few years ago, then they played the New Blood stage as part of that, then they went up to the Sophie stage, and this year they're named on the main stage, opening on the Saturday. So that is a Melt and the Masters band that played the New Blood and that have gone bam, and that is what Bloodstock do. They'll do that. You've got Evil Scarecrow, you've got Orange Goblin. They've all played the main stage, because they've done those separate stages all the way up. And that's Bloodstock does that. Other festivals don't do it. They just don't.
It just helps to create the next.
But yeah, because they've got to get that. They've got to get that exposure and that following, you know.
I suppose kind of to round it up, obviously Simon's got a difficult decision tonight.
Yeah.
We've seen, we've heard the bands that are playing tonight, but what advice would you give to bands who are looking to progress and to improve?
I think it is gigs. I think it's definitely gigs. You know, get your live show down and get out there. I think social media is a massive part of it now as well, letting people know what it's about. A lot of people disagree with that. There's been a lot of arguments on Facebook back and forward that even in competitions like this, there's been discussion about the judging of it. But the thing is, if you're judging it, and there are two bands that musically you think that they're equal, you've got to look at other things. And if bands have promoted it and they have bought into the competition and they've brought a lot of fans with them and stuff like that, then you know that's what you want to take to Bloodstock. You want to take that enthusiasm, you want to take that. So you know, I would say to the bands that if, you know, even Metal to the Masses aside, make sure that you promote your gigs, make sure that you master what you're doing, work hard, and the rewards will come. TBFM, we will play any rock, metal or punk band that are coming up. If it's broadcastable quality, doesn't matter how good the song is, if you know what I mean. As long as it's broadcastable quality, then we will play it on air. And we've got, you know, free to submit your music in and that sort of thing. It's free airplay, there's nothing like that, and that is what we will do. So, you know, and that's what I'd say to bands. Make sure you get yourself out there. Merch is quite a big thing as well. Try and get yourself some digital merch when you get some money together as well, because that's walking advertisements, walking around with your stuff on and things like that. And if you're looking at the Metal to Masses and sort of think, oh, well, we're not quite ready for it yet, something like that. Every band I've interviewed has said, never mind that, if you think you're good enough, just go for it. Just give it a go. You'll learn something. You will learn something, whether it's just, we're not good enough, it doesn't matter. Scarthia last year, they entered in 2012, I think it was, and I spoke to Simon after the final last year. Simon put them through as his special guest last year. I spoke to him at the bar afterwards, Purple Turtle, and he said, I saw Scarthia a few years ago, they weren't ready. They were good and they were getting there, but they weren't ready. And after the final, they came to me and they said, what did we do wrong? How can we improve? We kept in touch with them back and forward. When he saw them in the final last year, he saw how much they've improved. Wretched Toad were the outstanding band to win it. However, the Scarthia had improved that much and made that much of an impression on him that he put them through as his special guests. So even if you don't necessarily win it, you will learn something from taking part in the Metal to the Masses. You will network. You see the number of bands that you've got. We've got a Bloodstock on our Breaking Bands Festival that we got next weekend. We've got the Friday night stage is literally bands that have played at Bloodstock before. So we've got Rain of Fury, we've got Left for Red, we've got Wretched Toad, we've got Metaprism, and we've got someone else I can't remember. Damn, such a roll then as well. but we've got a bit of a Bloodstock reunion going on as well. And Scarthia, I said. So they get that link and you will gig together, and especially if you've done it in that same region, you'll find another band that you think, yeah, we'll get on quite well with them. You know, maybe slightly different types of music, maybe the same type of music, doesn't matter.
Surprised.
But the networking is massive from it. So if you're thinking of doing it, do it. That's my advice.
And on that note, let's say thanks very much.
Cheers, Mickey. Thanks very much.
And we are out.
I'm Andy, also known as Sarge, and I own Very Metal Art, one of London Metal to the Masses sponsors this year. So the business has been running just over a year now. I set it up by pure accident, in fact. I've come out of the back of a fairly successful 20-year career in film, advertising, TV, branding. A little bit disillusioned with working in management, you know, sort of doing more paperwork and client liaison than anything else, and the truth of the matter is advertising people are assholes. So I moved out of a salary job to go freelance, set up on my own maybe, and the work wasn't really there. I picked up a few jobs with bands doing logos and artwork, and within a couple of weeks I kind of got more and more commissions, people would see the work and come back to me. It sort of got this first inkling that I could actually do this on a more permanent basis. So put myself out there, came up with a name, made a little brand sort of Facebook page, and within a month I think I had another 6 weeks of bookings, and it's gone from strength to strength. So it's artwork, logos and lyric videos that I create. Lyric videos especially were something I really hated, in fact. I saw an opportunity to do something a little bit more there. I think bands were using them as an opportunity to do things for free when they couldn't afford real videos. So I think with a little bit more creativity and thought injected into them, I've managed to sort of turn them into something a little bit more useful for bands, you know, something a bit more engaging, and hopefully change people's ideas to a certain extent about what they can be. So I'm doing very well with that, and it's something I really enjoy. I'm in a very lucky position to be able to basically work with the bands I love and do what I was doing as a 15-year-old, you know, just sort of sketching logos and artwork, and actually getting paid for it as a middle-aged man, and it's a nice place to be. So I started working with Metal to the Masses London through Mick Wood. I'd worked with him via Headbangers Balls, which is a charity tour I put on a few years back. And London being the tricky region it is to sort of sort out live shows, I needed real expertise. Couldn't find anyone, and then came across Mick Wood, who stepped in to help. Sorry, Mick. And yeah, so we just became friends that way. So he helped me out, put some shows on, we did some good stuff. And then when it came to Metal to the Masses, it just seemed natural for me to step in and help him out where I could. Working with emerging bands and trying to help people out, it kind of seemed a perfect fit. So as Very Metal Art, I offered the prize of a design package or a lyric video as one of the prizes, and it went down very well. So I chose Slave Steel as the winner. It was a really difficult decision to make, and not only because the quality of the bands was so high, but that sort of worrying, that nagging doubt about the criticism about how I've decided who was going to win. The fact that we decided it wasn't going to just be, you know, the winner of the overall competition, and it was down to a judge's decision, means there was going to be scrutiny. But the only way I could really decide is by going with my gut, so I just chose the band I liked the most. I think ultimately when you're working with someone you need that, for want of a better word, synergy. And I found it with them. I thought they represented everything that Metal to the Masses should represent really well in terms of their collaborative spirit. You know, they showed that they wanted to help other bands and get involved. But also they did have that, not quite ego, but that self-confidence and drive, which I think you need to push yourself forward these days. And obviously because I like the music, it was a natural fit, and we went in that direction. So I should be working with them in September. I think we're doing a lyric video, and watch this space, we'll see what happens, but I think we can do something really good. So my main objectives with Very Metal Art is just to continue doing what I'm doing, really. I've never had a real plan for world domination with it, because I think it's a small brand doing simple things. So I'd just like to carry on working with great bands, getting these opportunities just to sort of be involved in the live scene, to in a privileged position where you get sent music first and things like that. It's a nice place to be, and to see my work on their CD sleeves and see my videos being put out on their Facebook pages means a lot to me. So I just plan to keep on doing what I'm doing.
Cares about the bands of tomorrow, and that's why we're here. And at the end of the day, it's about the underground movement, it's about supporting the underground movement, it's about supporting the underground promoters. It really is. So listen, there's a reason why we do this, and it's about creating and about fucking nourishing the fucking heavy metal community, right? At the end of the day, let me just tell you something. If fucking music in its entirety was the size of a fucking, I don't know, a fucking beach ball. Heavy metal and fucking rock and whatever, it's about that fucking big. But I'll tell you now, it's the most beautiful, the most passionate, the most fucking incentive, the most violent, and frankly the best fucking music in whatever genre you think about. It's there. It's fucking there for you to fucking embrace. So, on behalf of Bloodstock, thank you so much for fucking embracing this. Listen, every single band that played tonight is now on Bloodstock's fucking radar. Because that was so good. So fucking good. Make some noise for all the bands. Dead Before Morning. BEARFIST. Dying Vision. GEVAUDAN. Slave Steel. And DORYLUS. The winner of the London Metal to the Masses 2016. Not only will they be playing on the New Blood stage, not only will they be getting all the press and the media that we could possibly throw at them, not only will they be shortlisted with the possibility of playing at Slovenia Metal Days the following year, not only will they stand a chance of the fucking best guitarist, best bass player, both getting endorsements with Dean Guitars, which is pretty cool, right? Not only that, but they also stand a chance of winning an electronic drum kit with Studio Master. Not only that, but I can announce tonight that I've been talking to Alexander Miles from Metal Hammer, and this is the fucking deal. There's going to be a short list of bands from the Metal to the Masses who are going to get a full photo shoot, a full page of Metal Hammer, and I'm going to be recorded by the guy called Gomez, who recorded the first album of Ghost. So it's a pretty big fucking... Please guard the 5 bands that don't make it through. Don't think that I haven't fucking seen you, because I really have. And you really will be fucking on the radar. The winner of the 2016 Metal to the Masses is... BEARFIST. To every single band that took part, fucking A. Give it up for Mick Wood, who's put his shit together. Give it up for your winners, BEARFIST, come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? I'd just like to say, thanks. It's been fucking awesome. There's been some fucking amazing metal across the entire heats that we've been through. Everything. Tonight's been awesome. Semi-finals, quarter-finals, heats.
Right, give it up for BEARFIST. 2016.
Guitars, Noon and Pete. We've got DJ Squat at TBFM, and the winners of the Metal to the Masses 2016 BEARFIST.
Yeah! Oh yeah!
How are you guys feeling?
Completely underwhelmed.
What's just happened, basically.
Over the moon, but just shocked.
Yeah, blown away. It's crazy. Yeah.
What was going through your mind when when Simon announced you guys?
Someone else likes us.
One more fan.
Did you think the set went well though? Did you think that you thought you were in with a chance?
I think we all came off stage and we felt like we fucking did the best we could.
This is what we all said to each other before that set tonight, was just we want to walk off that stage and go, that's all we can do.
We felt that we had loads of fucking like attitude, and it was like.
Yeah, I mean, you can pick holes in any show that you do, but I think it's the energy. I think felt great tonight. I think sometimes that's the most important thing, is to come off and feel like together.
There was a decent.
And the crowd,
we might
crowd is such a big part of that.
Yeah, it just felt great. So that's the main thing, I guess.
You've just been announced as the best guitar player in Metal to the Masses.
You
can take that away. No one can take that away from you.
It's mind blowing. It honestly is mind blowing.
I think there's only one thing left to say is that you were the best band of 2016 Metal to the Masses London, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And rest of the guys who played tonight as well. Just I know it sounds stupid, but everyone who played tonight was incredible. And
I think that's what makes it that bit more special.
Totally.
So much quality.
That's brilliant. Well done, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We'll see you in August at Bloodstock.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.